Hey St. Catharines, and welcome to another episode of talkSTC. I am excited to be here with you again. It's another beautiful day in October. The leaves are changing, the colors are coming out, all kinds of great stuff is happening in our community. Jillian's Place Walk a Mile just happened, and we are so excited to see the community getting out again and offering their support and financial support specifically to an organization that does such amazing work in our community. We also had the Bravehearts Gala for the Kristen French Advocacy Center, always well attended, and another important institution in our community. The work that goes on there is so important for our youth. And so again, to all of you in the community, thank you for getting out and for supporting those great organizations. If you have the means and the opportunity over the coming weeks, look for those groups in our community that need the help. We know there's so many that are hurting at this time, and we want to make sure that we're supporting those groups as best we can. It is also budget season, which is usually when you know that I'm going to be growing some additional gray hair. I promise my hair didn't look like this when I started this job, but every budget season brings its challenges. But I'm lucky and I'm blessed to work with a bunch of good people in both the region and the city. I have a lot of faith in both sets of counselors that ultimately we're trying to make the best decisions for the community. And when budget season comes, it can get contentious, but ultimately we are trying to make a better St. Catharines and a better Niagara for everybody who lives here. We got a great episode today. We're going to delve into the Move STC talk today. Again, I'll be talking with my friend Andrew Harpwood from CrossFit 12 Mile. He's the owner over there, one of the owners that opened a new CrossFit gym in St. Catharines. We're going to have a discussion about all the overall health benefits of CrossFit and getting active. So another in our segment along the lines of Move STC. Then after that, we're going to chat with Rachel Braithwaite from the Downtown Association. We're going to discuss the fall programming that's coming up with the Downtown Association and the recent memorandum of understanding that we signed between the city and the DTA. But my first guest, as I said, is my friend Andrew Harpwood. He is owner of the new CrossFit gym, CrossFit 12 Mile in St. Catharines. Andrew, welcome.
Welcome, Matt. Thanks for having me.
You're born and raised in St. Catharines, served in both the Canadian Armed Forces, both the Army and the Navy, which is a thing I mentioned I have never heard before, which is phenomenal. But you're currently a firefighter with the city of St. Catharines, and you began your CrossFit journey 2018. You started coaching in 2021. You may have yelled at me a handful of times in that period, but you've recently opened a new CrossFit gym. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks.
Okay, so like I said, it's an interesting story. Before we get into CrossFit, how do you join both the Army and the Navy and then become a firefighter?
Well, it's a bit of a long story, but briefly, we started right out of high school. A buddy of mine was skipping class and said, hey, you want to come with me to join the reserves? And I didn't really know what they were, but I was like, yeah, sure, let's go do it. So we went over to the Lake Street Armories and signed up for the Infantry Reserve, which ended up being 7 or 8 years later, where I was looking to do something a little more, so I transferred to the Navy, where I became a hull technician and served on the HMCS Toronto at CFB Halifax for about 4 years. All well, my father was actually a firefighter, so I knew where I wanted to go eventually. In that time, I started a family and wanted to come back here where we were both from. So we came back in 2008 and applied to the fire department and started in 2009.
That's phenomenal. So you've had 16 years with the St. Catharines? 15, 16 years?
Yeah, just on 15 years now.
Okay.
With the department, yep.
And so your dad was a firefighter.
Yes, he was.
You always knew this was the path you're going down?
I did, right from childhood.
Wow, okay. Yeah, I always get excited when I meet people that they sort of have that path. They knew what they wanted and they go after it. I will say, I always wanted to be in politics, so I love the fact that I've actually been able to take that childhood dream, but that's awesome. I love hearing that from other people. So your CrossFit journey, you started in 2018. I mean, obviously, if you're a firefighter, you've been lifting weights, you've been doing all the things you need to do to stay physically active and healthy so that you can do the job. But what got you to CrossFit in 2018 and what got you to being a coach?
Well, interestingly enough, you say that. Actually, I was getting a little complacent and I was a lot heavier and a little bit less in shape than I am now. So it was a good friend of mine who kind of introduced me to CrossFit and sort of explained what it was and who it was for, and that's how I got into it. Moving over to the coaching, it was just sort of that need for bettering myself and my movement patterns and how I performed as an athlete. And by coaching, I would be able to see almost like the behind the scenes, right? So I would get educated on how to coach other people, which would in turn help me. And then also getting the keys to the gym so I could basically go anytime and work out whenever I needed to. So
I will admit, and I'm just going to say to the community, I could nerd out right now for as long as I needed to, but I'm not going to put anybody through that. So you get to coaching. And then you make the decision this past year that to start a new gym. So tell me about that. Like, how did CrossFit 12 Mile come to be? And
So that was kind of just two things, really. The right time, as you know, the other gym that we both had went to, they de-affiliated and then eventually subsequently closed their doors and moved out of the city. So there was a spot for it. And then second was the vision, right? It was, I wanted to create this inclusive place where anybody could come in and work out with other like-minded fitness enthusiasts and have a great workout, develop connections, have a place that they could really call their own. Being there, working out, not so much competitive against each other, but being there together and being competitive against kind of like our yesterday self, right? We're just trying to be better than we were yesterday.
yeah, and I mean, that's funny you said that. That's the way I walked into every session with it. Because there was a time when I was younger, I struggled with CrossFit because I felt like I was competing against everybody. And somewhere in my 30s, something clicked and it's like, no, you're competing against yesterday you.
That's exactly it.
So I'd walk into the gym and I'd say, I just got to be 1% better than I was yesterday. That's all I'm going for.
Right?
And I think that's the allure of CrossFit. A lot of people have it in their head, you see the CrossFit Games and just beasts, like some of the best athletes on earth. But the reality is, and this is what I've tried to tell people, because when you say, oh, I do CrossFit, they go, really? You do CrossFit? I mean, admittedly, I don't think I look like a CrossFitter, like the CrossFit Games athletes, but I love the fact that everything is scalable. Like, you don't have to show up and start tossing around crazy weights. Like, everything can be broken down into movement patterns that anybody can accomplish. Talk a little bit about like how open it is to anybody.
Well, that's exactly it. What we say is, CrossFit may not be for everybody, but it is for anybody. So, as one of the big things, like you said, is, people are like, misconception. I got to get in shape before I start CrossFit, or I got to go to the gym and be able to lift more before I start CrossFit. No, that's not it at all. Infinitely scalable, right? You can come in at any point in your fitness journey, big, tall, short, small, first day lifting weights, you could be an Olympic athlete, right? You can come in and you're going to get that good workout, right? We can scale any movement to where you are and help you get to where you want to be.
Well, and that's kind of the cool thing is I walk into the gym and like a 12 Mile walk in and there are some absolute stud athletes in there. And then there are folks like me that like just trying to stay healthy, trying to be 1% better than yesterday. We're all doing the same workout, but none of us are doing the same workout because we're all in different places in that journey, right? So, where there's some movements I just can't do. It's not that I've accepted that I can't do gymnastics. I've accepted that I need to work continuously to try to improve at gymnastic skills, things like, pull-ups and rope climbs. But I can still work out next to someone who can do the gymnastics with, significantly less effort than me. And we're both going to get the same sort of stimulus out of the workout and still feel like, yeah, I put in an honest day's work doing this. I think that's part of the appeal of CrossFit.
It is. It's one of the really cool things is that we don't have beginners or, advanced classes. We're all together, right? Yeah. You, I, everybody else, we're just at different levels, right? We're all putting out that 80, 90% effort. And at the end of the class, we're smiling, we're high-fiving and having a great time.
So what does a class at the 12 Mile look like? Obviously, I know what it looks like, but if someone's at home thinking, okay, well, you're kind of selling me on this, what does a class look like? For
sure. Regular classes are all 1 hour in length. We all coach-led, so you'll come in, we'll gather around the whiteboard, coach will discuss the warm-up, then we definitely go into a skill portion where we work on one of those skills you've just talked about, and at whatever level you're at, whether you're doing the full scale or a progression of that skill to get there. And then we'll talk about the metabolic conditioning phase, which is the end where we get the really good sweat on. So all of which happens in that hour, the coach is there walking you through it, demonstrating, coaching you, and that's about how it goes.
How many people generally in a class?
At our gym, we have about 8 to 12 people per class. So you get a lot of one-on-one time with the coach.
Yeah, and that's one of the cool things about CrossFit and one of the reasons why when I got into it hard was like someone was always eyes on me and just identifying things, and I've fixed a lot of the stuff that I was doing, not necessarily wrong, but doing in a way that like maybe over time it might have created an injury. And like there was always a set of eyes to say, hey, if you do it like this, probably going to feel better. So I think that's maybe one of the benefits of CrossFit is, having a coach is always around. So you mentioned this a little bit, but I kind of want you to reiterate. A lot of people have that misconception. Oh, well, I got to lift and I got to be able to do the Olympic lifts, or I got to be able to bench this much or squat this much. If I'm a new person and I've never lifted weights or I haven't lifted in a long time, what does it look like to sort of enter into the CrossFit world?
So at our gym, what we like to do is we have, you come in 3 separate times where you work one-on-one with one of our instructors. And we basically go through and find out where you are in your fitness journey. And we explain to you and show you all the different movements that we do at CrossFit 12 Miles, all the different types of workouts, all the different acronyms we use because, we have to write on the whiteboard. So of course we're trying to shorthand everything. But then we go back and then find out where you are in terms of each skill. And then we help you with your technique. So that way, when you do jump into class after those 3 one-hour personal training sessions, you're able to just mesh in nicely with the class and the coach is there to help you get through.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I talked about it a little bit off the top, Move STC. This is something I'm trying to do with the community, get people up and get moving. I think it's something, coming out of COVID, I think we all realized, our personal health is something we all have to take seriously. Outcomes are always better if you're being active and you're making your heart work for it, you're giving your muscles some stimulation. As a part of this, in the month of November, we've sort of keyed in with CrossFit 12 Mile. So, and I want to say thank you. In the month of November, you can win a $75 gift certificate for 12 Mile. The whole purpose of this is to get the community active and moving. So why is that, in your estimation, why is that important?
Well, there's so many reasons physical activity is good for you. Like a few of them, increased energy levels, right? Improved cardiovascular health. What else can we say? Assists with weight management, improved sleep quality. One of the biggest ones, and a lot of our members even say it to us, is the enhanced just overall well-being, right? They come in, we're pulled in so many different directions, right? From family, work, and other things. They come in, they do their workout. That feeling afterwards, after you're done that fitness and you've accomplished something or you're working towards something, it's great. That mental wellness, right? They consider it the best hour of their day. And that's what we strive to give them, the best hour of their day.
Well, I can say from personal experience, like coming in and doing the workout, there were many times, where you're just like, I do not want to work out right now. But by the end of the workout, and usually, as we're getting into the metabolic conditioning, as you put it so delicately, you can feel your heart really pumping, and you're like, okay, I'm working. This is good. And you get to the end and that endorphin rush, I don't know if there's anything better than that.
No, it's the best.
So I really appreciate you coming on board with Move STC. It's important to have community partners, but one of the things I'm trying to do is to highlight the people that are, offering services that can help you on that journey. And you called it a fitness journey, and I think that's the perfect way to describe it because, ultimately, if your goal is to be 1% better tomorrow than you were, or today than you were yesterday, having partners in the community, businesses that you can come out to, gyms and communities you can identify and be a part of is really important. So I just want to say thanks for coming on board with Move STC and coming on board and chatting with us today.
Oh, thank you. It was great to be here.
Andrew, thank you. We will be back right after this with talkSTC. St. Catharines, welcome back to this episode of talkSTC. My next guest is Rachel Braithwaite, the Executive Director of the St. Catharines Downtown Association, where she has been for the last 3 years. The DTA represents approximately 700 members, including commercial property owners, retailers, restaurants, and professional offices in the district. The mandate of the DTA includes participating in programs aimed at the physical improvement and beautification of the core, as well as the promotion of the downtown as a great place in which to shop, work, dine, play, meet, live, and explore. That's a long list.
It's very long. I'm really impressive because I did not give Brianne that. So she did her homework.
There we go. You're also the Secretary of the Ontario Business Improvement Area Association, and you chair their Awards and Advocacy Committee. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So the fall and winter season is upon us. We wanted to talk a little bit about what's coming up with the DTA in the community. So let's start with the Rodman Art Institute of Niagara. They've got a downtown art crawl. Tell me about that.
They do, yeah. October 11th, we're really excited. So I don't know if anyone, I know you hate me talking about Hamilton, sorry. But there's some good things sometimes that we like to steal and rip off and duplicate.
So for clarity, I don't hate when you talk about Hamilton. I love Hamilton. Hamilton's a great city. I get along great with the mayor of Hamilton. But yes, let's steal their ideas and do them in St. Catharines. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Anyways, keep going.
And I get it. We're better. It's all good. So Hamilton has an art crawl that is really popular, really big, and we basically saw that idea and said, why can't we do that here? We've got a beautiful downtown, great businesses, great local artists, and so Rodman Art Institute of Niagara is who's leading this initiative. We're really excited to partner with them on it. And so a lot of our businesses will be showcasing art. They'll be opening their doors and have artwork up on the walls. Along with Market Square, we'll have local artist vendors out as well. So October 11th is the evening to mark down on your calendars and make sure you come down and explore.
Awesome. And then you have the Downtown Halloween Crawl. That's October 26th from 12 to 3.
It is.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, so this is so popular. We've had to actually reduce the hours because we get too many people out.
That's, you know what, being a victim of your own success is not a bad thing.
You know, and we don't want to close the roads because we know sometimes that can be contentious. And we want to, ensure safety. So we're actually looking at bringing in some crossing guards to help assist the kids, because we get thousands of children and families come out in amazing costumes and just really enjoy the downtown. Our businesses they love being part of this, and they give out candy for free to all the kids. It's trick and treat in your businesses. And, we have some that go above and beyond. Phoenix Rises gives out free Pokemon cards to kids,
oh, wow,
which is a huge hit. So, and then last year we had one haunted house. This year we have 2, because everybody just wants to get on board with this beautiful celebration. So it really is special and really positive. It's nice.
I will say, I don't hear Halloween described as a beautiful celebration very often. But it is. I know how excited I was as a kid for it. And that's awesome that the downtown community sort of come together to do that.
Absolutely.
And the business community is really stepping up.
Yeah, it's nice.
So last year you launched downtown gift cards.
We did, yeah, and they went super, and are continuing to go very successfully.
Okay.
So we have over 60 businesses that are on board. So you buy a downtown gift card through our office or online as well. And basically it's for those people who are hard to know what to get for, or if you want to entice someone to come to St. Catharines, give them a gift card, right? We've got retail, restaurant, service, you name it, it's on there. So something for everyone.
So, and it works at all the businesses in the DTA area?
We've got over 60 signed up so far, yeah.
Okay.
And if there's one that you don't see on there that you will really want to have on there, let us know and we'll make sure they get that message.
So even though we're talking about Halloween, we're also convincing people, hey, maybe start your Christmas shopping early.
Absolutely.
That's not a bad way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you and I were at the Trillium Awards a couple weeks ago, and tell me about the award that the Downtown Association won, because anybody who's driven through the downtown, late summer, early fall, has seen everything that's going on. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we were really grateful to be nominated and recipient of the Green Leader Award. So this, we get so many compliments on the flower beds in the downtown, and I really do need to give the kudos back to the city. We do not plant every flower bed downtown. The city takes that on, thank goodness, and does a fantastic job. It really is beautiful. This year we just enhanced it. So we had a sustainability director who really took the lead on this initiative in the East End, which we get a lot of comments about where our flower beds, because the infrastructure hasn't quite gone all the way there yet. Hopefully it will. But there were some flower beds in that East End close to Geneva that never really had plants in them. It was grasses, that kind of thing. And so we took the initiative of planting pollinator gardens. And we had to turn volunteers away because we had so many people want to come out and volunteer to plant these flower beds with us. So that was lovely to see. And so we have 11 flower beds that have been planted. They're beautiful. They're really well maintained, and they've been flowering all fall and all summer. And so we're really excited for that enhancement. We also added about 10 or 11 other standalone planters in the East End as well to add to that. And along with, I think part of the award was for some trees that we planted at 12 Mile Creek Trailhead. We're really lucky in downtown St. Catharines that we have the trail right on our doorstep. Yeah. And it's one of those things that a lot of people don't know. It's like a hidden gem. So we're really excited to enhance that. We're adding some signage to showcase, hey, you're downtown. Did you know that? Come up and get an ice cream or a coffee on your walk. So we're really excited for that piece.
So you're telling me there's ice cream and coffee available?
There might be. Downtown has a lot for everyone.
No,
so.
It does. And I've had the benefit of a couple of business openings recently, and just looking at some of the energy. A lot of people talk about, pre-COVID, there was so much energy and there was momentum. I think we're starting to see a return to that.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate the work that the Downtown Association's done with City Hall, because I think it's been a partnership trying to get that forward. So speaking of that, and that wasn't intended as a segue, but we'll go with it. We recently signed an MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding. This is the first of its kind in Niagara region. So why is it important? Like, what is this doing for our relationship?
Yeah, good question. So this is something that has really, a few BIAs, not a lot of BIAs actually, have started across the province. So I'm a big believer in, again, ripping off and duplicating. Why reinvent the wheel? So to be honest with you, Collingwood, who I know through my work with Obia, had done an MOU a couple years ago, and I was like, oh, that's a good idea. We should look at implementing it. And the main reason is just it helps to clarify who does what, right? So, for example, there's a boulevard. Who's supposed to maintain that? Who's supposed to clean the sidewalks? Who's supposed to, be the person to call for that? And then also communication is key, right? So say a sidewalk is getting reconstructed. Oh, we should let the DTA know about that, right? We need to make sure that BIA knows so their members know. And it's important to make sure that line of communication is clearly identified, because we communicate really well and know each other and have those great meetings and stuff. And same with a lot of the senior leadership. But sometimes when there's other staff that may not know me, it's important that the message gets through to them so that, hey, I'm removing a bench. Oh, I should let the BIA know first. Right? Those kind of communication pieces are important, just so our members are in the loop with what's going on. And also I think memorandum of understanding is also really good at making sure we're both kind of focusing the same direction. And we always have been. It just really solidifies that too.
Yeah, but I think your point about like having that very clear understanding of who does what, like that's so important. And I'm sure the folks at home, they're listening and go, wait a minute, so you didn't know who does what? It's not that so much as, over time, roles change.
Absolutely.
And over time, people change.
Yeah.
And what some people look at as just common sense, if someone new with a different perspective comes in, whether it's in the mayor's office, whether it's in the executive director's office, like things can change, and so having it laid out so that everybody understands the page we're on in the book, like that's, I think, the best way to move it forward.
Absolutely.
So the DTA's undergone a lot of changes, just like the downtown has.
Yeah.
What sort of new initiatives and exciting stuff coming down the pipe can we expect?
Good question.
So because we talked about stuff that's like immediate, it's coming,
Yes.
Hey, the fall, this is what we're doing. But, going forward, what are we looking at?
Yeah, great question. Well, we've got some really neat dreams. We're in budget deliberation time right now, which is always a fun time, as you know.
Isn't it?
So fun.
And not contentious at all.
Never. It's just such a peaceful, everybody's on the same page.
There's no competing priorities.
Never.
Everybody's rowing in the same direction. All those fun euphemisms that are absolute lies.
Exactly. So it really depends on where that goes, if I'm completely honest with you. But I can say, I have a fantastic staff who really have some really neat ideas and a lot of creativity. So there's been a lot of discussion around different events, in smaller scale events, not our big road closure events. We still have some of those, like our block party. We're really excited to again have our sponsors back again for that. So that one's kind of set in stone. But other events like bringing back Downtown Delish, right? Doing more crawls, like the art crawl. So those are things that we're looking at doing more frequently. So almost once a month, almost have a reason to come downtown, have a reason to go in a business you haven't been in before.
Yeah.
We're working closely with the museum as well. We've done a number of historical walking tours this year that were really popular. So we're looking at branching out to different ones, maybe do an evening one and pair it with wineries or craft beer downtown. So we're really excited with those kind of pieces to really, give everybody a reason to come downtown.
So right now, there's a lot of residential redevelopment that's going on, that's being proposed. How do you think that changes the face of downtown? The DTA obviously is a business organization, but that additional, we stare down the pipe 5 years, and there's a possibility of an additional 1,000 housing units. That's 2,000, 2,500 additional people in the core. How does that change life for the downtown business improvement area?
Oh, it's huge, right? For our businesses, that means a lot more traffic through their doors, a lot more that they don't have to do, they don't have to force people to come from Toronto to them. They're literally across the street from them, so come in, right? It's a lot easier of a sell. And often there's more pride in their neighborhood because they live in that neighborhood. They want to support their local coffee shop. So that pride piece is already there. One thing I think it will change a lot, which I was really excited for the support unanimously around the table for the Active Transportation Master Plan, is none of those residential builds require parking.
They will have some parking. I want to calm everybody down. If you saw that, they will have parking. But our downtown core, you're correct. Downtown core does not have parking requirements, with the expectation, I think, when that decision was made, that active transportation, regional transit, all of those things were coming down the pipe. And so now that it's here, I agree with you. I think it's a net benefit, but it means that our core has to be capable of handling.
Absolutely, yeah. And so, we're working on a number of different initiatives right now too. In fact, I just left a meeting on secure bike parking. So that is something that, we've heard a demand for a long time. It's just been hard to really get it off the ground. There's a lot of steps that are required. But we've got some really strong players around the table that are willing to kind of step up and help achieve that. So we're hoping coming to a city near you will be some secure bike parking.
Awesome. So with all the things that are going on, is there anything specifically that excites you? Either something that the DTA is doing, something that the city's doing, something that's proposed, maybe it's a couple years out, but it's going to become, is there anything that you can sort of latch onto and go, that happens, that's big?
Yeah, I can only pick one. There's a few. I think, I'm a big believer in inclusivity. I think that's key for us to maintain our community and our culture in our downtown, which is so rich. And also to eliminate the brain drain where students move away because they don't feel connected to the community.
Yeah.
So I would really love to see, and we had some very early conversations about this, but we'll take money and sponsorships if anybody wants to financially support, is to see a Black History mural.
Okay.
In the downtown. I think that would be a really key piece. It's something I feel that's been missing, especially with the richness of that history in St. Catharines.
Yeah, it's interesting. When I first came to St. Catharines, starting to learn about the depth of the Black history in the community, and you look around and you're like, wait a minute, like Harriet Tubman?
Yeah.
Didn't they want to put her on the $10 bill down in the U.S.? Like,
right.
She's a hero.
Absolutely.
And then you find out, oh yeah, she lived here. That's her church. Yeah.
It's huge.
This was the terminus, and you're like, oh, I know what the Underground Railroad is. That's a big deal. So I think you're right. I think there's a lot of opportunity for us to continue to celebrate that.
Yeah.
Rachel, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate the chat today, and it's always fun to hear what's going on in the DTA.
Pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, and I appreciate always getting to work with you.
Definitely. We will be back right after this. Thank you so much for joining us on talkSTC. I want to thank my guests. Fantastic chat about what's going on in and around St. Catharines and Niagara. St. Catharines, I appreciate you joining me on talkSTC, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode coming right at you.